All right, a special edition. I think we can call it a special edition of It's Still Real to Me. Got my pal Joey Levin here with me. It is a Monday edition. We're recording this a couple hours before Monday Night Raw gets going. Couldn't do the show this weekend because your boy just got back. The Zaslow family, Zaslow family vacation. We were skiing in Park City, Utah. We are now a skiing family. It was a very successful trip. I caught snippets of pro wrestling throughout the week, but I kept up with all the stories. I don't know. This was not the week to be away sports wise or to be away pro wrestling wise. It was kind of a huge week. Joey, how are you this afternoon? You doing okay?
I'm doing great. I'm glad we actually are doing this. You know, we normally do the recap.
Yeah.
Obviously, we recap the week, but like, even if you didn't watch every single show this week, the news really didn't come out of the shows. Like the two biggest storylines they didn't come from a WWE or an AEW show, right? So there's enough to at least even dissect whether you saw everything or not. That's big enough that we got to get into it. So
I was out in the West Coast. It's mountain time, so I was 2 hours behind. And my goodness, the sports schedule when you're on the West Coast, what a pleasure. Unbelievable.
It's the best.
Unbelievable. And this worked with wrestling as well, where it was Friday night and we were in from skiing already. We were in, the villa, and I was kind of waiting for the Heat game to start because the Heat game out there, West Coast Heat game, 8 p.m. I'm waiting for the Heat game to start. But then there's SmackDown. It's like, okay, does SmackDown start at 6 p.m.? What do we do here? SmackDown actually, they don't air it live out there. It starts at 7 p.m. So it's an hour delay, SmackDown. So I had to kind of stay off Twitter because stuff is starting to happen.
It's 7 p.m. West Coast?
No, well, I'm in Mountain Time Zone.
Oh, it meant Mountain. Okay.
And SmackDown is starting live 6 p.m. where I was, but they don't start airing it at 6. They air it at 7. So It's like an hour tape delay instead of 2 hours tape delay, for 8 p.m. So it starts at 7 p.m. But I got to stay off Twitter because stuff is all over trending. It's like, all right, the show hasn't started yet out here at 7, so I'm going to stay away from it, So I didn't get to see very much of SmackDown because then it bled into the Heat game and I was busy there. But same thing with Dynamite on Wednesday night, where Dynamite started at 7 p.m. and that starts an hour early as well on tape delay. So just what a pleasure where you get these shows that are starting earlier. I love it so much. But yeah, a lot of stuff happened. I think we should start with the Vince stuff. That's the biggest news of the week. And, I know the pro wrestling fan is worried because now I wasn't the pro wrestling. Look, I love Vince. All right. I'm always going to be like, I love that guy. He gave me so many years of my life, especially my childhood. Just gave me so much entertainment. I don't know what happened, with him and, other women or what have you and payouts. I don't know about that kind of stuff, but he I'm always gonna love that guy for what he gave me as far as entertainment goes. But I'm with everyone else where it's like, yeah, this WWE has been on fire for like the last 6-7 months since he left. We're heading into the most fun time of year, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania season. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because Vince lies. He's a liar. All right. Vince said in the press release, we're keeping everybody in the current positions they're in. But that dude's a liar. All right. And I'm just hoping that everyone stays in their current positions. And I guess I saw, you don't know what to believe because the dirt sheets, it is what it is. But apparently he's not even back in his offices. Like he's not in his office in the headquarters this past week. I would take that as a good sign, right? That it would seem that he's only coming back because he wants to either A, sell the company and because he owns the most shares, or B, he wants to be a part of the negotiating with the new rights deals, which I guess are up in a year from now. And of course, we saw with the NFL, they're now moving their NFL Sunday ticket to streaming to YouTube. Could WWE go in a similar direction where they're not on USA anymore, they're not on Fox anymore? Maybe all their programming will be on Peacock. Will they be YouTube? You don't know. So it seems like Vince used this as a power play to get involved with whatever type of rights deal is going to be coming up next.
Well, my understanding is it's not even that he's coming back for the rights deal. My understanding from everything I've seen is that he's coming back to sell the company.
Either or,
not just, but not just like the rights to like Raw or like to sell the company, like totally.
Right.
Now from the creative concerns that everyone has, the other thing is there was supposedly, again, dirt sheets, but there was an all hands at SmackDown on Friday where Stephanie McMahon led a meeting with, I believe, maybe Nick, I don't know, some other people were there, basically saying like everyone's good. Like,
okay.
Like day to day is not changing. Like apparently they addressed the concerns because obviously there was reports coming out, people were concerned and this and that. What concerns me about this really was if it's true that the main reason he came back is because he's not going to let anybody else spearhead a sale of his company other than him.
Right. My
concern is that he's going to sell the company. And, it was 30 years ago that WCW was taken over by by a corporation. But we saw what happened.
Right.
Like when people who don't know how to run, the wrestling industry is a very strange world. And most of these people who run it have been in it their whole lives on some form or another. My concern is, let's say Comcast buys WWE. What does that mean for the future of WWE? Not just like creatively, like there is historic precedent here for a company to come in, the big wigs, they don't like this, they don't like that. Oh, I know how to run TV. I know that, but it's different. It's not a regular sport, but it's also not regular TV. There's just a different world. And if you outright just sell it to, let's say, Comcast, who seems to be like the front runner from what people are saying, what does that mean for the future of the industry? Because the industry, like you said, not just WWE, but the industry is hotter and bigger than it's ever been. But if a company that doesn't understand the business takes over, like we saw with WCW's ultimate collapse, sort of seemed like who's running the show and who's in charge and this and that. That could be bad for the industry if WWE gets messed up in that way.
I guess the part that I take solace in is, like you said, the industry is at its healthiest it's ever been. WWE is a monster. They made so much money this last year. Why would a company buy an entity that is super successful? It's not like when Vince McMahon bought WCW, it was in the shitter, Right. Why would you buy an entity that is super successful and change the people who are running it? Why would you do that?
Well, unfortunately, as you know, and as I know, having both worked for relatively big media companies, people get in positions of power at big media companies that don't know shit about shit. They just have sort of failed upwards sometimes. And when you have this shiny new toy, who knows? Some guy some VP or whatever at the top of Comcast, who's been a wrestling fan, who just likes wrestling, now has this property. And you how are you going to tell this guy who runs this giant company, you don't know this business? Well, he's gonna say, "Well, I don't care. I know TV. I run Comcast." That's my concern. Yes, in a perfect world, people's egos wouldn't get in the way of good business, but it happens a lot. And that's my main concern here. I don't think, as far as like this next year, I think things go the same. I think Triple H keeps running the show. I don't think Mania I don't think anything gets affected creatively. But I think looking ahead to 2024 is where you got to think like, okay, if they sell the company, what happens? And you just never know. And that's the only real concern I have. The rest of it's like, it's Vince's company. It is what it is. I mean, they are public, but it is his company. Mm-hmm. So if he, regardless of the controversies and whatever happened there, if he wants to sell the company, it's his company.
Is it possible that it goes back to being private?
Yes. I don't know for sure, but
because as a fan, isn't that the best case scenario if it went back to being private?
Yeah.
Where they could just do whatever they want. You get back to you don't have to answer to shareholders and whatnot. You can get out of the PG era, which they kind of have over the last few months, but it's still not close to what it was. Like, that is probably the best case scenario if it went
for the wrestling fan.
For the wrestling fan.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Especially, imagine a privately owned WWE run by Triple H.
Oh, my God.
Like, and Shawn Michaels running NXT. Like, you have the two of the four catalysts of the Attitude Era with Stone Cold and The Rock and then DX. But like DX running the entire company of a private company.
Yo, is Stone Cold coming back for WrestleMania? I saw a video today. He took himself in the gym and he is jacked to the gills. Man.
Probably. I'm sure he's going to do something. Like, he got the taste last year with the Vince thing and the McAfee thing.
Right.
Yeah, maybe he'll be in the Rumble.
Can he be an entrant in the Rumble?
Why not?
Well, the thing is, you can't see.
Can you imagine? And he would come in 30, and the glass would break, and people would lose their mind.
Like, unless it were to set up a really big match for WrestleMania, you can't have Stone Cold be a surprise entrant in the Rumble to get eliminated by someone.
Yeah.
You can't get eliminated, you know?
Yeah,
so
why not?
Well, it would have to be by someone who's going to set up a high-profile match for him at WrestleMania.
Maybe.
Can't just randomly get eliminated. It's Stone Cold.
Yes, you can. You can, because you do like a dusty finish, right? So Stone Cold comes in, there's like 10 people in the ring still. Stone Cold comes in, he eliminates like 3 or 4, he stuns everybody. It's like 98 all over again. Comes in, just stuns everyone. Then he gets some heel. Baron Corbin eliminates him. Whatever. But I'm just saying, the heat in the building for Baron Corbin eliminating him, but it's Stone Cold, so Stone Cold doesn't give a shit. He goes back in the ring and he eliminates Corbin. Then you don't even have to have a Mania thing. You just get the pop. I mean, it's the moment.
I'm very excited for this Royal Rumble. We're not going to do it today because we're still a few weeks away, but I'm looking forward to when we're going to give our picks for Royal Rumble. I'm pretty sure I have mine right now. Well, I definitely have mine on the women's side. But
I have mine on the men's.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, just the way, I'm going to mention it kind of today, I think, because just the way.
Okay, then who are you leaning toward right now?
I mean, it just feels like it's Cody. It just feels like Cody.
Well, so so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm really annoyed with the way they're handling Cody Rhodes' return right now. You know, they're doing the promos, they're doing the vignettes, they're showing him back at WrestleMania last year, and it's like, I don't need to be reminded who Cody Rhodes is. Why can't he just pop up and return out of nowhere? You know, it's not as if, all right, he's going to pop up and return out of nowhere, and because they didn't do these vignettes, I'm going to forget who Cody Rhodes was. It's a weird thing that WWE has done with the Royal Rumble over the last few years. Have you noticed this? It's a weird thing that they've done where they will tell you a lot of the, I guess, surprise entrance. And when I say surprise entrance, I don't mean like the huge surprise entrance. I mean like the people who, you know, the alumni who are going to be coming back. Why do you need to tell me? Why are you I want it all to be a surprise. And Cody, you don't need to remind me that Cody's returning. Just let it happen, man.
I think over the last few years that's happened because over the last few years everything just gets leaked anyways. So I think WWE was getting ahead of it. But
they've done a great job lately.
That's what I'm saying. As we've talked about a lot, is they've hidden this like everything lately. So as of right now, do you have any idea who's in the Rumble? Because I don't. I mean, I know Cody's going to be there. It just seems like that's where we're headed. But other than Cody, who they're building, and the thing with the vignettes is, yes, you could absolutely just have Cody come back, and get the pop.
Like now, I know he's coming back for Royal Rumble. I'd rather not know.
But I think they're trying to, it just feels like they're trying to build and legitimize him coming back and winning the Rumble and main eventing Mania. That's what it feels like.
And you need these vignettes for that?
Yeah, I think, well, yes and no. I mean, you probably don't, because you could just tell that story after he wins the Rumble. But, you know, I don't know. But the vignettes make me feel, and maybe that's the swerve. Maybe they're trying to make you think he's winning the Rumble. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing him win the Rumble. I love Cody. I think Cody's great.
I see. I don't want him to win the Rumble because I feel, and I hated Cody Rhodes in AEW, and I really really like him in WWE now, which surprised me that I like him this much. But I don't want him to win the Rumble because I don't want to be. I don't want it. It feels too obvious to me. I hate it when it's obvious. I want it to be a surprise. It feels like, oh, Cody's definitely going to be the one that dethrones Roman Reigns. Okay, but it doesn't have to be on this timeline that everyone seems to say it's going to be on. I want to be surprised.
Yeah, I guess the problem is because there's only one champion, and it's Roman, and whoever is going to face Roman and potentially beat Roman has to be a huge deal.
Yep.
There's only like a couple guys that could beat.
I think there's three guys who could dethrone Roman. You want to guess who I think they are?
Well,
there's three guys.
KO,
yep.
Cody, and The Rock.
No, I have KO
and Sammy.
No, I have KO, Cody, and Seth Rollins.
Okay, but so I mean, I guess my point is like a surprise is.
There's no way it's The Rock. There's no
a surprise
way
is good. Like surprise would be good. Surprises are always good, but like in this instance, there's only like a handful of guys who can win the Rumble this year.
Yeah.
I guess in the past, it's been like, oh, maybe somebody will come back and win it. Can it be Brock? It's not going to be Brock, right?
Won it last year.
Yeah, but I just like you said, you mentioned guys there. I don't think Rollins is winning the Rumble. It'd be cool if he did. KO is going to be fighting at Royal Rumble. So
has Rollins won it? He's won it once, right? Yeah, he won it, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I believe so. But I'm just saying, it's just like there's so few guys, so it's going to be one of these like 3 or 4 guys this year. And I think it's been more open in the past, but I think because it's Roman and because he's such a big star and because he has both titles, there's really not that many people. Like the Rumble is still going to be fun, but
it's amazing. I mean, the Royal Rumble,
but the suspension of disbelief, like there's not 15 guys who can win the Rumble. And I guess there's really not always 15 guys that can win the Rumble, but this year there feels like even less like legitimate claims to potentially win the Rumble.
Yeah. And like, I don't think that KO is going to be in the Royal Rumble. I feel like he's getting the title match, which we'll get to coming up because I didn't see SmackDown from a few nights ago. Like I said, I'm out of town. I'm trying to do catch up, so I'll have some questions for you. But real quick, I'll tell you. I mean, unless anything changes over the next few weeks, I think Becky's a lock to win that Royal Rumble. She's never won the Royal Rumble, and I think part of getting the belt onto Charlotte. We're talking WrestleMania Hollywood. Becky versus Charlotte. It's as big as it gets. I think we're getting Becky versus Charlotte for WrestleMania because you got the story in the ring and you got the story outside the ring because apparently they're not friends anymore. That's money right there. I think Becky is winning that Royal Rumble. Like I would say, I know a lot of people are going to pick Rhea here. And
I think it's Rhea Bianca. I think it's Rhea and she challenges Bianca, and that's WrestleMania.
I would love for Rhea to win it, but here's what I think we're getting. I think Rhea is going to be dominating that Royal Rumble. She'll be throwing girls out left and right. And in comes Beth Phoenix and eliminates Rhea.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Because they got to get back to that somehow. Mm-hmm. And that sets it up for WrestleMania. I think Rhea is going to look like she's about to win the Royal Rumble and Beth Phoenix eliminates her.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think Becky's going to win the Royal Rumble. Otherwise, yeah, Rhea. If Rhea didn't have this thing going with Beth Phoenix that they've done a great job making us forget about, which again is why it's going to be cool when it happens. It's going to be a surprise.
I mean, the other thing I guess I'm bouncing back to the men's. I guess I got to add somebody to my list of potential winners because Prison changes a man, and it seems Prison changed Dominic Mysterio. So I don't know, maybe Dominic Mysterio is hardened and he's prison hardened enough to win the Rumble.
Yeah, I think I think you're going to get a face-to-face with Ray and Dominic in that Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, Ray could be 30. Because remember when Ray was 30 a couple years ago and everyone booed because they thought it was going to be a big comeback. But now, if Dominic's in the ring and Ray's at 30, he'll get a pretty big pop.
Yeah, that was a disaster. That's right. I think that's going to be something. I think Dominic and Ray are going to be face-to-face in the middle of that Royal Rumble. One will eliminate the other. I don't know which one. And that will set up their WrestleMania match, which we all know is coming. But the whole Prison changes a man. I know this is why. And like I said this before, everyone wants to bust on Dominic and you hate on Dominic. Can you let the story breathe a little bit? Can you give it a chance? Because right now, It's one of the most entertaining things going on Raw. I thought Raw the teardrop under his left eye.
He's turning into one of the breakout stars in the company.
Like are you
he's
kidding
really
me?
genuinely
changes a man. The teardrop when he's getting taken away. Mommy, call Finn and Priest. I won't make it in prison. And then he comes out with prison changes a man. I did hard time when he was probably there for 12 hours. Okay. And he's got the tear under his eye.
He was in the drunk tank. He wasn't in,
It's so good. It's so good. I love it so much. And Rhea obviously is such a massive star and has really helped Dominic in that spot. But man, like in a group where you got Damian Priest, who really seemed like an up and comer, Finn Balor, who's one of the best in the world. The two stars in that group are so easily Dominic and Rhea. They're the center of it. They are. So that was awesome from Monday night. I thought Raw from start to finish was a fantastic show. I thought Raw, the first two matches of the night, you had Alexa and Bianca, which as the match is going on, like this match has nothing to do with the title. It's all about Alexa. And did you notice though? So you had the two guys in the crowd who are wearing the Uncle Howdy mask or the White Rabbit mask, whatever it was. Did you notice the first guy who stood up? You had the stupid security guard who was trying to push him to sit down. And you can't tell because he's wearing the mask, but the dude turned to him and goes, I'm in the fucking show. Stop touching me. and then the security guard like ran away,
Yeah.
That was funny. I loved how they did that match. It was all about Alexa. Like I told you, of all the women, and maybe if you include the men in WWE, she is the best actor of anyone in the company. She's fantastic. I love that she got bloody. Was the blood on Bianca? Was that real? Like it kind of appeared out of nowhere. Did she get?
Yeah, I didn't really know. Well? I couldn't really tell.
But Alexa definitely got busted up, so I dug that. And she is like full on now. She's full on heel. That's for sure. She hasn't fully broken out into the Bray Wyatt character, but she's on her way back, man.
But I think I may have mentioned this on the last episode where it's like Bray is great. That his story's great, but Alexa's more interesting. Alexa's connection to Bray Wyatt and what is happening with her.
It's amazing that on both shows, like across both shows, you got Bray Wyatt's presence felt, and he doesn't even have to be on both of them.
Yeah, but like, don't you feel? And I mean, we'll mention SmackDown a little bit. There wasn't a ton, involved there. But I mean, LA Knight had a good promo. But like to me, as great as Bray has been, as good as the storyline has been, the most interesting parts of the Bray storyline right now are Alexa and LA Knight. Like, cool. and it's cool because him being what he is and his creative genius, or so to speak.
Well, yeah, they made LA Knight into a huge star because
they're elevating them to elevating LA Knight into a bigger star and bringing Alexa back to where she should be.
Yeah, she was kind of bland. She was a little bit bland.
But it's really interesting because I feel like them two, I want to see them all the time. I like seeing Bray. Don't get me wrong. The Bray stuff's good. And like the Uncle Howdy stuff and what's going to happen. But like, I really want to see LA Knight and Alexa Bliss.
And the first two matches right out the gate on Raw, that one was which was a good match. And that one was followed by Solo Sikoa and Elias. I never liked the Music City bullshit with all the instruments and whatnot, but I thought it worked. I thought it was really good. It got violent, obviously, in the end. You got Homeboy in the crowd, who I've never heard of, who comes up with the guitar and smashes Solo. And Solo does not flinch, which is obviously really cool. I don't understand.
That guy's performing at Rumble, too.
I have no idea who that guy is.
I don't know who the fuck that guy is.
But then Elias, he goes onto the top rope with the shattered guitar. What's he doing? What was he trying to do? He's holding a shattered guitar.
I don't know, but I could just watch Solo matches all day.
And then Solo puts him through the piano. That was cool.
Solo is just, again,
we talked about last week. He is absolutely a main eventer. He is.
He's turning into it. And
main eventer.
I mean, I'll give you my thoughts on where he and the Bloodline are headed when we talk about SmackDown. But he's gonna be he is gonna. I know one of my bold predictions was him having a singles title by Mania. Maybe that'll happen, maybe not. But I think what for sure he'll have a singles match at Mania. That will be maybe it'll be the Drew McIntyre blow off, but like it's going to be something big because he's already shown that he is, moving up the card quickly.
Yep. Did you notice when Damage Control, I love that Triple H does this stuff, man. Did you notice that Damage Control, when they were walking through the bowels of the arena, whatever they're doing, they're talking. Did you notice in the background, there was a little meeting of the minds back there? If you looked into the distance, MVP, Shelton Benjamin,
Bobby Lashley,
Cedric Alexander.
Oh, okay.
Lashley was not there. No, it's not Lashley, but the three of them were back there talking to Adam Pearce. And that makes all the sense in the world. Let's get the Hurt Business back.
Hurt Business.
Let's do it.
With Omos?
That's a good question. I don't know. Good question. I'd like to see it with Lashley again, but you'd have to get some type of resolution with Omos and MVP.
Okay.
But
how about this? I was watching Omos he's a really interesting guy. I saw a clip from a podcast he did.
Yeah,
I think with that guy Ryan Satin.
He did the Ryan Satin podcast. Yeah.
Did you see the story he told about how
I saw a little bit of it, yeah.
He had issues, he would pass out but he didn't know what it was. And then when he moved to the States, they found out that he had like a tumor, like like between his eyes. That was like
causing.
He was
gonna go blind.
Yeah, he was going to go blind and he was causing him to pass out and stuff. So if he hadn't moved to the US, he'd probably be dead.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I thought Raw was great. And the last thing, of course, that was worth noting, I wonder if you agree. The main event, Austin Theory and Rollins, was great. And I wonder if you agree that already in such a short period of time, this version of Austin Theory is a home run compared to what he was doing before. Like, he is believable as the U.S. champion as opposed to being chicken shit heel. He is believable as the U.S. champion. And I like this version of him a lot better.
He's great.
And I liked him before. But I like this version better.
He's always had upside. He's super young. This version of him is great. Mm-hmm. What I think will be truly like the key to how good he is at this point is once he is not feuding with Rollins, how much do we care? Like, will he still carry a storyline that has this much importance with the U.S. title when it's like Bobby Lashley or Dolph Ziggler or Ali or, you know what I mean? Like, Rollins makes everything bigger and makes everyone better. This is a main event match on Raw because Rollins is part of it, not because Theory is part of it. Now, Theory is doing great work. And I'm not saying it's because of Rollins. This character that he has now is the best he's been in WWE. I'll be interested once he's not working directly with Rollins. Will we still think he's like leveled up? Or is it a product of just having an incredible feud with one of the best in the business?
Yeah. I mean, look, they put him in a position to have success. You know, what's he do next?
Yeah.
That match was awesome. Loved it. Can you tell me a little bit about SmackDown? I mean, I specifically want to know about the Bloodline. Like, Roman, this would have been his first time reacting to Sammy losing the match for them last week. What do you got there?
So you didn't see it?
No, you know what? I tried to start. I couldn't get around to it. I had a lot of stuff I had to catch up on. But I do want to mention, because I saw the very beginning of the show and the Bloodline comes out and they're going to do the thing where they're taking over the show. Okay, cool. And then Roman Reigns' music hits. And I got to tell you, it's getting pretty close to when Roman Reigns' music hits to like when Stone Cold's music used to hit. Now, it's not on the level, but when Roman's music hits, it comes out of nowhere. You don't know when it's coming. You never know when he's going to come to the ring. And when it does, everyone gets super excited.
Yeah, well, so he comes out. They get in the ring. They do their, the four of them standing behind him. He starts talking. But I'm sure you've noticed this. Over the past few weeks, Roman's becoming a little unhinged. Like, this is the development. His character is a little like, what was it? Like a month ago, he started talking to the camera when he was walking out. Like, like talking into the camera, which he didn't do before.
Was it after the McIntyre match? I think he did that.
I think so. And then, he's questioned some of the stuff that he questioned Jey Uso. Mm-hmm. He's, he laughs at weird times. He makes weird faces. He stares into the camera. It's like with the long hugs. This time he's talking about like them losing a match. And he there's this laugh. He does this laugh this week that was like a psychotic laugh. And then without looking at Sammy, he's like, I love he's like, you guys, we're talking about how we went undefeated last week on Raw and SmackDown, and the Bloodline's taken over 2023. Everyone wants to hear from Sammy from the honoraries. He's like, but I'm not done talking about last year because everyone keeps saying that I lost. But I didn't lose. You lost. And he's not even looking at him. He's just going, you lost. And you were the one who guaranteed that match. You don't guarantee matches. I guarantee matches. That's what I do. Do you want to be the head of the
And is he looking at him or no?
He finally turns around and he's like, and he starts losing his shit. You think what my job is easy? I'm the head you want to be the head of the table? Do you want to be the head of the table? And he's like, Sammy's obviously freaking out. KO's music hits. KO comes out, tells him, you don't have a problem with Sammy. You have a problem with me. You're not mad at Sammy for losing that match. You're mad because I beat you. And then Roman's like, whatever. I don't care. I don't care what you have to. He's like freaking out. Like he's totally becoming unhinged. And it turns out with KO leaving, Roman's like in the ring, just losing his shit. They go to commercial, it moves on. But then later on in the show, they have a backstage segment. Paul Heyman won't let Sami Zayn into the dressing room. He calls him Shmooly now, or Shmooey or something. Shmooly. You got to give him some time. Then finally, as the Usos are leaving to go to their match, Heyman tells him to bring Sami Zayn back in. Sammy's apologizing. He's like, I'm sorry. I don't want to be the head of the table. I don't want to be that. You're the head of the table. And Roman goes, my job's tough. I have a responsibility. And what I did out there wasn't fair to you. So I don't accept your apology because I'm the one who should be apologizing. Wow. I should be apologizing to you.
Wow.
You're not my problem. Kevin Owens is my problem.
Wow.
Kevin Owens is my problem. And you know what? We have a solution to that. And then Heyman sits down next to Sammy, goes, next week, Sammy, you're fighting Kevin Owens. You're going to finish the Kevin Owens problem.
Okay.
And then again, Sammy said, I'm going to finish the Kevin Owens problem for you.
What's going to happen there? What are they going to do? What's going to happen?
My assumption, Sammy's going to have a chance to win it.
I think
he's going to have a slight pause that's going to cause him to lose it. And then they're going to question whose side he's on. And it's going to continue to boil. Like he's going to lose the match for sure, which is going to lead to Kevin Owens and Roman at Rumble. Yeah. But there's going to be a moment where he can either hurt Kevin Owens or he can beat Kevin Owens, and he sort of pauses, like, what do I do here? What do I do here? And then that's going to be like, well, oh, wait, maybe they're still friends.
Makes sense. KO has to win because, I'm coming for you. You're next, Roman. But look, they're not breaking up the bloodline anytime soon. I mean, I can only imagine how much merchandise they sell, Joey. It
feels though. Can I just tell you? It feels like we spend a time. Everybody does figuring out how is Sammy going to get kicked out? How's the bloodline going to
anytime soon?
It feels based on the way Roman is acting that it's not going to be people getting kicked out. It's going to be Roman being like, I don't trust, like this like psychotic break where he doesn't trust anybody, and he's like, you guys don't understand the pressure that's on being the head of the table. I'm doing this on my own. And maybe they don't break up, but it's like a weird like rift because the way he's developing is like he doesn't trust anybody anymore, which is interesting.
I like it.
The best part of it though is after that happens, the Usos music hits. Sammy gets up. He's like, I got to go out there. And Roman's like, stay here and watch it with me. So they go to the match. During the match, they're cutting in and out. So they cut back. Sammy has a big tub of popcorn.
I saw this.
And he's eating. And Heyman and Roman are looking at him like, what the hell is this guy doing? They go back to the match. They cut back. All of them have big tubs of popcorn.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. It was all so good.
That's awesome.
I mean, that was really, this is how SmackDown is now, where like other stuff happened.
Did you see, man, SmackDown's numbers, like they're a lot bigger than Raw. And there's no other way to, I mean, it's Fox versus USA. It's broadcast television versus cable. But you also got to give, like a lot of it has to do with Roman and the bloodline. It has to, right?
Totally. I mean, I think they've done such a good job of making Roman into a must-see star, whether he's fighting or not.
Isn't it amazing? Like Vince was right, man. He didn't go about it the right way necessarily at first, because this version of Roman Reigns was still under Vince's watch. But
sure,
Vince was right. He was right. This was his guy. This was his hand-chosen guy. Took a little longer than everybody expected, but he was right.
I'll also say, Paul Heyman's a kingmaker. You put Paul Heyman with somebody on camera and off camera. He's clearly a genius, right? Like creatively, he's a genius. A lot of the credit, you got to credit Roman for doing what he's been doing, but there's got to be so much credit to Paul Heyman. Everything he touches, it just turns to gold.